안녕하세요. 팍스경제TV 코인인터뷰입니다. 전 진행을 맡은 김도연입니다. 오늘 코인인터뷰를 찾아주신 게스트는요. YOOSourcing의 CEO Milad Nouri 님입니다. Hi, it is really nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So, will you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, so my name is Milad Nouri. I am the CEO and co-founder of YOOSourcing from France.
And would you like to add more?
Yeah, so I've been actually in China for over 13 years, doing business in different fields of international trade. So I've created several companies, and 3 years ago I've created YOOSourcing with several other international co-founders.
Okay. Have you ever been to Korea before? How do you feel about Korea?
Yeah, in the recent months, I've been almost every month, once a month in Korea. The problem is that every time I come, I have a lot of meetings, so I didn't really have time to visit. But so far, I really liked what I've seen. It's very dynamic and very good vibes. I like it.
I think you should enjoy our Korean culture more.
Yeah, I should take the time. Next time I take a couple of days to really discover.
Have you ever
Korea.
tried any Korean food or?
Yeah, of course, Korean food. I love it. I tried.
I love French food too. Okay, so let's get into the detail. What is Project YOOSourcing, and why did you start this project?
Yeah, so YOOSourcing is a collaborative and decentralized solution for international trade. So our goal is really to build trust and transparency in international trade, and to have a better relationship between international buyers and suppliers. For those who don't know what is sourcing, sourcing is actually the first step of a supply chain. For example, when we want to manufacture any product, the sourcing process is finding a supplier, a manufacturer, who's able to manufacture those products. So that's called the sourcing process. So everything we use in our daily life is from a sourcing process, actually. So that industry is very important because a good quality sourcing impacts all the products that we wear and we use.
Absolutely.
So that's why we created this solution to improve sourcing. And the reason why I chose to start 3 years ago YOOSourcing is that I have another trading company for over 13 years in China. So we had a lot of buyers from all over the world buying products from China. And every time I wanted to find a new supplier, it was very difficult because there are several websites for that, and on those websites there are thousands and thousands of manufacturers, and it's very difficult to filter them and to know who's actually a good supplier.
Absolutely.
So and also these platforms, they make their revenue through the suppliers.
Yep.
So the suppliers, they have to pay to be ranked in those platforms. So which makes the search results very biased by how much money actually they pay to the platform. So that's why I wanted to create a solution that kind of take away all these centralized aspects of this business and make it more collaborative.
Okay, so YOOSourcing is a blockchain-based decentralized solution for global sourcing, as you just said, right? It is like a B2B project?
Yeah, so it's only used between companies. So for example, a buyer, an importer, for example, in the US who wants to buy some products from a manufacturer in Korea, in China, in Vietnam. So users are companies, and we also have some service companies such as quality inspection companies or trade finance companies. So we created this kind of network between these three different entities. So suppliers, buyers, and service providers. And under each company, there are several users that are like people who work in those companies.
So you mentioned sourcing that is decentralized, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you 100% sure for all those quantities and the qualities?
Yeah. So again, we decentralize the process. It means we do not control that. So all the buyers and all the quality inspectors, they kind of complete the information. For example, every time there is an order that is placed between a buyer and supplier, we control that through smart contract. And we divided the process in several stages. And at each stage, we verified that that process was done without any problem. I give you an example of quality inspection. So once you place an order to a factory, they start manufacturing. And at some point of the manufacturing process, you decide to do a quality inspection. So whether a buyer has its own quality inspector or they contract third-party quality inspection companies, that goes to a factory. And if there is any quality problem during checking the products, the color is different, the shape is different, that information is very important. And this will be traced using blockchain, and it will affect actually the performance of the supplier.
And actually, the YOOSourcing was already a company by its own, right?
Yeah.
But what I researched, you just combined blockchain recently, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah. So actually, when we started 3 years ago, we had in mind to use blockchain because we wanted to bring trust and transparency, right? And by definition, blockchain is a protocol of trust. So at the beginning, we really wanted to start with blockchain. But then we saw that there are so many companies talking about blockchain, and we thought we take a different approach. We create first a solution that people actually use, and then we bring blockchain feature into it. So that was really our approach from the beginning.
Okay, and I've also heard that you're having relationship between Cardano and Emergo?
Yeah. So Emergo is the commercial arm of Cardano project, right? And we've been working with them for a while now, and they're actually an equity partner in our company.
Yep.
And they really helped us to build our technology, the blockchain technology of our solution, and also to introduce us to the Cardano community, Cardano ecosystem, and Cardano technology.
Yep.
So that's been a great collaboration, actually.
And I've also, so the word index from your website, what does it mean?
So index with the Y
Yeah.
is a combination of U plus index.
U and index.
Index.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the trust index of suppliers. So as I explained before, all the transactions are traced through smart contracts. And if there's any problem during the manufacturing process, it will affect the trust index.
Okay.
So we use what we call this quantitative data in order to be able to calculate the trust index. So, we have credibility index, right, for the credit rating, but this is really for the performance index. So to know if the factory is actually a good quality factory or not. And all these information are gathered through all other users.
Yeah.
So we do not control that trust index.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is last mile problem also?
Yeah, so last mile problem is something that in economy we call last mile problem, is the difference between offline world and digital world.
So this is basically a word, right?
Yeah.
Last mile problem.
Yeah. So it's a concept.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the difference between offline and digital world. So something, for example, happens offline. How to translate that thing that happened offline and how to digitize that.
Okay.
So that's called solving the last mile problem. Okay. So in our case, the example of quality inspector that I told you, he goes and he checks, a mobile phone in a factory, and he sees there is a quality problem. So that happens offline, right?
Yep.
So to solve the last mile problem, we created processes to digitize that. And to digitize that information, And using blockchain, we can trace that information forever.
Oh.
So that's how we solve the last mile problem in our case.
Okay. And company can reduce sourcing cost up to 50% by using YOOSourcing, right?
Yep.
So 50%, how is that possible?
Yeah. So I explained to you a little bit how is sourcing process, because it's very complex and it takes time.
True.
For any product you want to do, I don't know, a cap or a mobile phone, it's pretty much the same process, because you have to go through finding, suppliers, make sure they are reliable, trust them,
Right.
place an order, etc., etc. So already finding the supplier is a big part, because most of the time buyers are on the other side of the world. They have no idea what's going on in China or in Vietnam, in other manufacturing countries. They find a factory online or through trade shows. They have to make sure that they can trust that factory. And that's very difficult to do, right? So for that, they send auditors to the factory. They send quality inspector. Sometimes a team from the buying company, they visit the factory. So all this is very time consuming, is very, very costly, right? So by using our trust index, they can already filter a lot and
based
save
on
a lot
data.
based on data, because what we show them is how reliable is that supplier based on everything, all the orders that they have done before. And everything is private, so nobody knows that supplier worked with, if it worked with my competitors or not. I do not know that, right? And that's why also blockchain is important in this business. And so already that process is much more reduced, because we provide them a piece of information that they can use to filter their suppliers. And after, we have already developed several features to help them to collaborate better. For example, every time there is a new inquiry for a product, they do like a post, and it's like LinkedIn post, for example, and it's sent automatically to all the suppliers. And the process of inquiry is done much faster. So usually it would take 10 days to 2 weeks. Now in 3 days, they can already have the inquiry sent to all their suppliers and try to get reply. And we have a messenger inside our mobile application. So we've created several tools that are really helpful to accelerate their sourcing process. So to accelerate the process will reduce their cost, obviously.
Okay, so you just mentioned your mobile application. Would you tell us more details about it?
Yeah, so its application was launched 2 years ago, and it's already on iOS and Android version, so you can find it everywhere. So you write YOOSourcing on Google, you can find it easily. We have over 200,000 users already, and a lot of transactions already going on.
Oh, wow.
And we also have some corporate version of our solution.
Oh.
So we have some companies, large companies, they came to us and they asked us to do the white label version for them. Just like a private version for the large companies.
Let's jump into the other section, the YOOSourcing token, aka YST. I would like to know about the ecosystem of YST.
Yes, so our token is first of all used as incentives for all those oracles that I gave you example. For example, the quality inspector.
Yep.
So every time they give us a piece of information, they put in our system, they receive our token as incentive, right? And it's also used by other users, all the corporates and companies, to purchase services, premium services that we have in YOOSourcing, and also services that are provided by third-party companies like quality inspection companies, auditors, labs. So they can pay for all those services using our token.
Okay. Can you use YST in your application?
So right now we are working on that. Right now we have our wallet that is called Y-wallet.
Yep.
That is available in our website yst.global. So people, they can download that and store the YST tokens in that. And then later on, earlier next year, they will be able to use really in our YOOSourcing application.
Oh, so people can buy YST from exchange?
Yeah, we have been listed for over a month now on MXC, so MXC.com.
Yep.
And it's been trading already, so people can go and buy YST and support YOOSourcing projects.
Okay. Compare with other similar project or application or the companies, what makes YOOSourcing so special?
Yeah. So in our field of sourcing, actually we are the only blockchain-based sourcing application, because very specific type of business is B2B. So you must have a long experience to really understand what are the issues and how to solve them.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. Another thing is that we took a very different approach, and as I said before, I believe myself that before having blockchain, making corporate people to understand and to use blockchain, you have to show them the app layer, the application layer. You have to show them a solution that makes their lives easier.
Yes.
Before explaining them, oh, it's blockchain, you have traceability, etc. Most of the time, corporates, they don't want to know about all this stuff. So we want to make abstraction of the blockchain layer with our very good, useful application layer. So that was our approach from the beginning. That's why we focus a lot on the application layer, on YOOSourcing. And now, since last year, we're working on smart contracts and integrating smart contracts into our existing solution. So that's our difference.
So in your application, which way is the quickest way to find the buyer or the suppliers?
It's very easy. You download the app on your iPhone or Android phone through the store, and you register if you're a buyer as a buyer or if supplier as a supplier, and you can use it right away. You can find finding different region by product, different countries. You can filter all the results of the suppliers. So it's very, very easy.
Then now is the time to show off your fabulous team members. I heard you have, a great team member. Would you introduce them to our viewers?
Yeah. So myself. So we are a very international team from France, India, and China.
Yeah.
Also, we have Canadian in our team and Americans. So in terms of co-founders, we are 4. Myself from France. As I said, I have many years of experience in international trade, and also I am software engineer myself.
Yeah.
And then we have Manmeet. He's from India, and he's our expert in blockchain. And then Xu Jianhai, he's Chinese. He's our COO. He's in charge of all the operations in China.
Okay.
And our CTO, Chen Limpen, he has more than 15 years of experience in software engineering. And today we are around 30 people. Based in China, Hong Kong, and Singapore.
Wow. So, other your perspective, how will blockchain will change our life, and how do you think about blockchain industry?
I think, generally speaking, I think I'm sure blockchain technology is here to last. So I think everybody should start learning and try to be interested about blockchain technology. There could be a lot of changes in everyday's life, but what concerns my own industry, which is international trade, I think it will have a huge impact, because blockchain technology will, as what we're doing and other companies like Walmart is doing, allow traceability of products and manufacturing.
Yep.
This is very important because there are some developing countries where manufacturing is done under very bad working conditions. And having a good traceability of all those manufacturing process will have a huge social impact also on all those workers. Improving their working condition, improving their salary level, and also it will allow to make manufacturers more accountable for what they do. So in terms of pollution, working condition, etc. So I'm confident that in our industry, international trade, it will make a huge impact.
Okay.
And for normal consumers, if the international trade is impacted, as we see today, there's a lot of trade wars and trade discussions, that will impact the final consumers also, because every product they see in the supermarket or shops comes through a sourcing process.
Yeah.
So I really believe that blockchain will change really the whole industry.
Then, in your perspective, do you think blockchain ecosystem will suffer major change in this year?
So this year is already almost over, right?
Yep.
I think we've been seeing that there are more and more actually business application of blockchain technology. I think this is something that is really lacking in this ecosystem, because a lot of blockchain companies, they mostly focus on the protocols, and they really didn't evaluate how to apply that to a business situation.
Yeah.
I've been giving a lot of seminars to CEOs and CFOs of big corporates, and when I talk about blockchain, they look at me with the big eyes. They do not understand anything, which I understand. I mean, it's a kind of complex technology, right? So I think what we have to do is and they are kind of afraid about that, because they always mix cryptocurrency with blockchain technology,
And also they think about scam, right?
Yeah. So, and I explained to them, cryptocurrency is just one application of blockchain technology,
Sure.
which is, and I try to kind of teach them, what we can do with blockchain technology, and I think we this year we're gonna have, and next year we're gonna have more and more real application of blockchain, and this is the only way to kind of show the world that blockchain technology is actually useful.
Okay, so already we're up to the last question. Would you like to leave any remarks to our viewers?
First of all, I would like to thank all our Korean community. It's been already almost half a year that we've been working with Korean partners, and I would like to thank them for their support, and I really hope we're going to have more and more Korean users supporting YOOSourcing project. Thank you.
Thank you. So this concludes our interview today.
Thank you.
Thank you. 네, 오늘은 밀라드 누리 CEO님과 유소싱에 대해서 알아봤습니다. 오늘 인터뷰에 응해주신 유소싱의 CEO 밀라드 노리님 감사하다는 말씀 드리고 싶고요. 코인 인터뷰가 준비한 내용은 여기까지입니다. 저희 코인 인터뷰는 항상 여러분에게 유익한 코인 정보를 제공해드리기 위해 노력하겠습니다. 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.